I'd like to call to order the February 2022 Elizabethton City Schools Board of Education meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone on the President's Day. At this time, I'd like to ask that you all stand as Mr. Van Huss leads us in a moment of silence and a pledge to the flag.
Please pause for a moment of silence. Thank you. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. It's time to approve the consent agenda and regular agenda. Can I get a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion and a second.
Second.
Any questions or anything need to be looked at? Okay, all those in favor of approving the consent and regular agenda, please say aye. Aye. And all opposed, and there are none. This time, it's time for citizens to speak, and we had no one request that. So we'll move on to special recognition, and we have three here tonight, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Van Huss to call those in order. And I also will tell you, if you'll stay until all those are recognized, we'll have a time to dismiss if you don't want to stay for the rest of the meeting. So you'll have an opportunity to head out if you need to. So if you'll hang with us till all the recognitions.
Thank you, Mr. Pless. Coach Holt, if you'll come up, please. And our first group that we're going to recognize will be the EHS swimmers and T.A. Duggar swimmers.
All right. Well, guys, I'll go ahead and introduce Coach Kelly Broussard and Coach Robin Roselle. And after I say just a little bit, I'll let them come up and talk about the team. Then the team can come up for the picture. But I just want to first congratulate our swim team on just phenomenal work they've done this year, and not just this year, but leading up to this year, battling through a tough COVID year the previous year where their swim season went into spring sports, and so they just really have had an uphill battle for the last couple of years. And so Coach Broussard and Coach Roselle have done so much work just coming in as new coaches, trying to really pick up the program and add numbers to the program. And they don't just work, they work with high school kids, middle school kids, and the Typhoon Youth Program. So they're working with kids from ages 4 all the way through high school because we really needed our swim program to grow with numbers, and they've just worked so hard to, youth on up, to build interest in the program, to promote the program, offer, lots of opportunities to get into the pool. And I'm just so proud of them and the work that they've done, and it just makes me really proud to be the athletic director and have some coaches like that and some students like this that work really hard. So I'll bring coaches up and they can introduce their team, and then we'll have some pictures. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm Coach Broussard. Thank you for having us today. We're really excited about the season that we just had. I don't think Coach Robin has much that she wants to say. She's not much for public speaking. But I guess I'll start with our senior Elijah Smith. This was his second year to swim at state. Swam the 50 free last year, 50 free again this year, and the 100 fly. Super good gentleman. Really proud to have had him on our team. I'm going to miss him like crazy. And Thursday's our banquet, so I'm sure I won't be able to keep myself composed that night as I say goodbye, but I'm not going to do that right now. So then I'll introduce our sophomores. We had no juniors this year, so our sophomores who swam, my son Cody Broussard next to Elijah there. He swam in the 500 free and the 200 free. He cut 19 seconds in his 500 free last Saturday. Super excited about the race that he had. And then he also swam last year at state in the 100 fly and the 500 free last year at state. Then we had Morgan Roselle, Stay standing, guys. Stay standing. Morgan's on the 200 IM and the 100 back, and just would not stop cutting time and improving. I don't think there's an end to that boy's improvement. We're really happy to have him on our team, and that's also Coach Roselle's son. And then we had Katie Digby, another sophomore this year. She placed in the top 50% in her 50 free this year, got down to a 26 flat. I told her I wanted a 25.99. She said she did it just to spite me. So she also swam the 100 fly, cut more time than that. I don't think there's an end to the improvement that she can make either. Then we have Liam Cannon, who was able to join us for a relay at state along with RJ Brewer this year. So we were super excited to be able to bring a relay and compete. It was just a fun, good break in the stress of the weekend to do that. So really happy about that. But I did bring as much of the team that was here in town: Tabitha Schuma, Megan Royce, I'm sorry, right? Royce? Yes. Sophia James, Ella Edmondson, Layla El Helou, and her sister Ava El Helou. Is that everybody? I didn't miss anybody, did I? So we're a really close-knit group. They supported us tremendously. We all got to go to state, and they behaved themselves, which made our jobs that much easier. And I couldn't have asked for a better group of kids this year. So just thank you again for having us all here.
Y'all come over here. We want to get a picture of you, please. And make sure you can see the camera, because if you can't, it can't see you. So come on. Come on. So I just want to mention one thing about the swim program, and Coach Sutton really got this started a few years ago. We appreciate him, want to mention him as well. And for a long time, swimming was a club at Elizabethton, and it is a real sport now, and that's a tribute to the people that have been running the program. So just want to say thank you very much for your dedication, and Coach Holt, Dr. Mitten again for making that an emphasis, so we appreciate it very much. So next up, we will, Dr. Mitten, if you can come up and introduce our next honoree.
Yeah, so Carice, if you want to come on up too as well. This is Carice Dickinson, and Carice, as part of our Super School grant with XQ, our agreement with XQ, there was a national billboard competition that took place this school year, and as part of that competition, Carice submitted an application, or a submission rather, an artwork submission. One of the challenges for the submission was to submit a piece of artwork that would resonate with folks about what it meant to rethink high school, which was originally the question that was posed to every school that was a part of the competition. And so Carice put together a very good product, so much so that out of over 100 applicants nationally, she finished second overall, which is quite an accomplishment. So the coolest part about it is that I was kind of thinking about maybe bringing a copy and having those here, maybe having it up. But the thing you have to do is drive into Elizabethton to see it, because part of the recipient's honor was to be able to display that in Elizabethton, or rather in your hometown, wherever of your choice. And so that is displayed across from Cookout, just right above where the Verizon store is, right in downtown Elizabethton. So if you're coming from Johnson City or the west end of Elizabethton through East Elizabethton, look up to your right and you'll see it. It's a black billboard that has some keywords. And Carice, you're welcome to explain how you got there if you so choose. That has some words that Carice can come up here and explain that tells a story about what it means to be human. So Carice, why don't you talk to maybe the crowd just for a second about how you came up with that idea?
Yeah, sure. First of all, I just want to say thank you for recognizing me. It's a huge honor to get to speak in front of people. I'm not a huge public speaker, so just give me a second. Yeah, there's several words in my word human on my billboard: peace, equality, justice, I think, and unity. And those are really important words to me as an individual to just express to the community at large, specifically the students at our school, just that they are a human, and through that they should be able to have that sense of peace and equality and unity, and to get the justice that they deserve through our school system and through community and nation and internationally.
So I'll just say to follow that up with what Carice submitted, and obviously it was a very competitive competition because it was a national competition, but just think outside of the box, so much so to consider underrepresented groups and people who, I guess just in our school system, in our school, we constantly do what we can to try to make sure that those words are valued. And so to know that that's a goal of one of our students and our student body, and obviously the direction of our school and our system and our board, it's really special. So thank you, Carice, and who knows, maybe we'll finish first next time. But good job on getting second. Way to go. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're very proud of you representing us the way that you did, so appreciate that very much. Coach Holt?
And we wanted to now bring Coach Witten up and recognize the football team for the competing in the third straight state championship. And, you know, it's amazing the fact that, you know, I don't think a lot of people have expected them to be there this year, but they were. And that's just a, you know, tribute to the quality of the program that Coach Witten runs, the quality of work, the quality of people, and the commitment that everyone has to that program to pull in one direction. And so they had an amazing year. So Coach Witten and the most key members of the team are here tonight to represent. So
well, I want to appreciate everybody's support, our community and our school. Don't have many guys here today, but you know, our team was full of determination and great integrity. We had a lot of guys from, our roster was built from top to bottom in a lot of great ways, and our team got stronger as the season went along. They truly bought into, you know, what it truly meant to be a great team, you know, put themselves above the team. So just bring these guys up. We also had some guys that also broke some school records and state records. And, you know, our senior class is the all-time winning senior class. They also tied Greenville's 2017 senior class for the all-time winningest senior class in East Tennessee history. We hope that as our program grows, that will be broken, shattered by the next senior classes. But just because Connor's here, Connor also broke the consecutive games played and consecutive games started by a football player. Connor started for us since he was 14 years old at right tackle, and he's played almost over 50 consecutive games at right tackle, starting them all. So it's one of the records we're most proud of. And then also, just in order to get to the state championship game the last 3 years, you know, you got to have your best players on the field, and that's it's a proven product of the work that these guys put in, that they can stay healthy and do a good job to maintain, you know, as physical as we play, and the style of football we play around the area is pretty tough. So don't want to say too whole much. We don't have a lot of guys here, but you know, we definitely appreciate the support. We appreciate the you know, what it's, you know, truly means to bleed orange and black. And these guys put in a lot of great work, which is well known. And you know, we're just proud of the success we've had, and we really appreciate it.
And I know we're recognizing football, but Connor Johnson, guys, is working really hard too. He's looking. I just want y'all to be on the lookout for him throwing the shot and discus this year in track. And I know his goal is a state championship, especially in the shot put. And based on what we've seen, the work that he's putting in, I'll drive by every day, and he's out there by himself at the shot put ring. I drove by yesterday, and he was out there throwing. So saw him today too. So we look forward to Connor having a great track season too. So.
And again, if you are more than welcome to hang around and for the rest of the meeting, but if you need to exit, this would be the appropriate time to head out, and then we'll wait just a second, and then we'll get started again. Thank you all for being here and all you do. Can't see her. Oh, that's an old letter sweater. I wonder where she got that. Is that something new that she had?
She just did it herself.
Oh, that's good. You see that letter sweater that she's wearing? Orange.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. We love the orange and black letter sweater, by the way, just for the record. That's so cool. Okay. We thank you all, and thank you for all the hard work. Okay. At this time, it's time for the director's update, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Van Huss.
Thank you, Mr. Pless, members of the board. Once again, just a great night anytime we get a chance to recognize the great work that's going on in our schools. I can't help but be reminded that we're in the middle of, well, toward the tail end of winter sports. Again, you just heard what the swimmers were able to do at the state competition. We have, I think, 5 wrestlers that have qualified for the state meet, which is coming up, I think, this week. Both basketball teams, men's and women's, are both playing for district championships, the girls tonight and the boys tomorrow. So it's been a fantastic athletic season for the school, and we're excited about where those teams will finish, and as well as moving into the spring sports season, as Coach Holt mentioned. So very proud of them and wish them all luck as they move forward. I want to mention thanks to Marcia Taylor, Dr. Newman, and the rest of the team that helped put together the 6-month addenda that's on the agenda for the ESSER plans. We'll have a chance to talk about that later, but a lot of work went into that. Also, they did a lot of work to get ready for our Best for All recognition that we received 2 weeks ago. It was very nice to be recognized by the state as one of the 68 districts as recognized as a Best for All. Again, that's mainly a focus on the way that we've used that money, and that's just recognition that we've put that money to the use of which it was intended for. So I'm very proud of the team that, again, put that together, input that's principals, teachers, staff members, central office staff that put those plans together, and again, appreciate you for supporting us in those endeavors. I also want to mention that we'll be talking about this. One of the items is I distributed a capital plan to everyone, a capital projects plan. You know, it could be in the next 5 or 10 year plan for us. And we'll be talking later about the possibility of having a workshop to discuss some of those items. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Also, the new state funding formula, word is that that will be released Thursday by the governor and the commissioner of education. So we're eagerly anticipating that to see what that will mean for us. And I think the intention is to give us some kind of an idea based on our population, student population now. They would give us some type of projection on what that new funding formula, how that would play out with our current students. So that will give us an idea on exactly, how much additional funding, if any, we would receive in that new formula. So I'll keep you up to date on that as well. Want to congratulate Mr. Dustin Hensley, and he's going to talk to you in just a minute about a humanities grant that he was able to acquire. Really excited about the work there. We'll let him tell you a little bit more about that in a few minutes. Also, this is National Public School Week, and so we're very proud of the fact that we're involved in public education. It is an extremely important part of our society and our culture and our communities. And I think sometimes it's obviously taken for granted in a lot of ways. There are always things that we can work on to get better, but at the end of the day, we educate whoever walks in the door, and we take them from where they are and stretch them as far as we possibly can. And so I think it's important to recognize those individuals that make that happen. And so we'll be doing that all week, periodically in different ways. So just want to take that opportunity to thank all the people that are involved in public schools, especially here in Elizabethton. Also want to thank you for allowing me to attend the TSBA Legislative Workshop last week, as well as the National Superintendent's Conference. Those were both in Nashville. Got some very good information, and I think you should have received an email from TSBA outlining the General Assembly legislative items that TSBA is supporting and the ones that they are opposing. I also sent an email out today because there may have been some trouble downloading that, so I sent you a copy of that as well. If you haven't seen that email, if you have any questions about that, you can let me know. But there's a lot, there's a lot going on, and so I would encourage you to read over those, and any of those that you have questions or comments about, see me. And again, if there's something you feel extremely strong about, I'd encourage you to speak to our local legislators to let them know your thoughts on those things. The Superintendent's Conference, it was there were over 4,000 school superintendents from all over the country there, and the opportunities, the different sections, the different sessions that you could attend. I mean, there were so many of them, but to see how many were focused on culture, climate of the school, relationships, all those things, just made me feel great as a director of Elizabethton, because I know how much of a focus that is. We're relationship first. We work very hard to try to find somewhere that every student that walks through our doors can plug in, that there's a caring adult that they know that they have a relationship within that school. And so it was great to see all the emphasis on that and knowing what we already have in place. Again, that's not to say that there's not things we need to get better at, and we certainly will continue to do that. But that's really the trend. You hear a lot about the economy and the fact that in the state of Tennessee, companies are moving in here by record numbers. And the one statistic I wanted to share with you is that of all the jobs that are being created in Tennessee, 40% are going to require either a certificate, something from a TCAT, or a 2-year degree. That's over 40, almost half of the jobs. So there is such a need and such a focus, and I'm not talking about jobs that are paying $25,000 a year. We're talking 50s, 60s, in some cases, 6-figure salaries. So, I mean, it's significant. So, and then again, that all ties right back in with our CTE programs and the emphasis there that we continue to place there, and options and opportunities we have to grow there. We're certainly going to pursue those. So, again, thank you very much for letting me attend that. It was a great opportunity to see and hear what's going on in other parts of the country to compare with where we are. So, thank you very much for that. There's so many great things going on in Elizabethton. I'm going to mention a couple of others. We've already highlighted several sports that and their successes, and I know that I'm going to miss something because there's so much great stuff going on. But we've had 2 national publications that have had articles and information based on Elizabethton City Schools, Christian Science Monitor, and they it's an online magazine. It's called The 74, and that represents 74 million, which is roughly the population of public school students across the country. And they're highlighting that TNL core and the early literacy work that we're doing across the district. So very proud of that. We've had multiple visits from the State Department. We have more coming up in the next few weeks. We're working on hosting the next round of early literacy training, which we're working with the TCAP for that location in April. Later in March, coming up, we'll be recognized for our Reading 360 work. So just so many things going on that, to me, it's just, and I hope that our teachers feel this way, is it reinforces the great work that they're doing under extremely difficult circumstances, and the fact that other people are noticing that and care to write about it. You know, you can say, well, what's a magazine? Well, they thought enough of it to seek us out and publicize what we're doing. So again, that speaks to the people that we have in the administration, as well as the teachers, everyone that's involved with educating our students. So very proud of them. Just wanted to highlight a few of those things. So anyone that's listening, if I forgot something, I apologize. Just send me a note and we'll make sure we mention it next month. But again, thank you very much for the work that you do to support what goes on here in the school system. So that's all I have. Oh, Dustin, yes. Mr. Hensley, can you come up and share more good news with us?
Good evening. I had told Ashlyn and Hannah that I was going to do a chant like the swim team. Library, library. Okay. So was very fortunate to thank you, Mr. Van Huss and Dr. Minton as well, for allowing me to apply for this grant opportunity. There was funding through the American Rescue Plan that was given to the National Endowment for Humanities, which in turn gives some money to the American Library Association for humanities projects for libraries. And we were one of 200 libraries across the country to get funding, which 200 sounds like a big number, but when you think about it, there's 20 libraries just in Carter County. So this is public libraries, school libraries, academic libraries. So feel very fortunate to be one of the ones selected to get funding for that. But a focus of our grant specifically is to create an archive for the Douglas School. And I have a degree in history, and one of the things they trained us in as to be historians was whenever you're looking at historical record, who was missing? And looking through all the archives that we have at Elizabethton High School of just the history of Elizabethton City Schools, there's an obvious hole of the Douglas School that we just don't have those stories. And I don't think that's malpractice or anything. It's just something that's missing in the historical record. So this grant will go towards paying 2 college interns for the summer, for June and July, to work in the Douglas community to help try to get those stories recorded, whether it be through oral interviews, just collecting ephemera, records, whatever we can find that we can get, and then compiling those and digitizing them. So not only do we have a physical archive in the school library, but also a digital archive that anyone can access online, so it's available for the whole community. So if you have any questions about any of that process, just let me know. But again, thank you all for allowing me the freedom and autonomy to work on grants like that.
Thank you.
Again, thank you for being willing to step out there and apply for that. And it's appropriate that we're sitting in Douglas School right now. And so very excited about what that's going to mean for the community to, again, as he said, to fill in that gap. So we're excited about the work that's going to happen there. So.
Okay. Now it's time for board members' reports. Anything anybody has that they need to share? I will say on behalf of the board, we appreciate the schools who were really kind to us during the National School Board Week. We appreciate that way above and beyond. So our 5 schools, including the Wandale Early Learning Center, were all so kind, and we appreciate that. And obviously you make us want to serve you just because of how you care about us. So we really do appreciate that. And I also wanted to welcome Ashlyn Meadows, who we have 4 students who will be attending the SCOPE conference, which is, I don't know that we've had that many in the past, or any in the past. Have we had some? Okay, so, but we have 4 that will be going this year, and appreciate her attending tonight, and we look forward to maybe a report once that's over about what you learned when you went there. So, okay, next, it's time for City Council Liaison Report. Mr. Simmerly, welcome. Yeah.
Really, I don't have anything tonight from council, just a reminder, our budgets are coming up, so anything that you need, I know Mr. Randhus will definitely let us know that. But I do have one thing to tell you, that we have a lot of pride in this city. We all have a lot of pride in the jobs that we do, and it is so reflective in everything that we do. Saturday, quick story, my wife and I were at lunch. Young lady, complete stranger, she's our server. She's new to the city. She's excited about living in Elizabethton. So, of course, I have to ask the question, why are you excited about living in Elizabethton? She said, I grew up in Banner Elk. She said, my best friend went to Elizabethton High School. And she said, I would come down here on weekends and get her, and we'd go do things and hang out. And she said, boy, that high school was something. But I was in Banner Elk. I said, well, what are you doing here now? Because she was obviously out of high school. She said, I've got a 4-year-old daughter, and my daughter is going to be going to the school system here. She said, I moved here so my daughter could have the opportunities that I did not have. So that is so reflective of not just our city, but our school systems that we have. And this was a complete stranger. Of course, I didn't tell her who I was, but just it made me feel so proud. So proud of our school system, so proud of our city, and the little things that we do. And this makes you feel good. Makes you feel good.
It does.
So proud of you guys. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you. Thank you. And last but not least, Student Liaison Report, Miss Maggie.
So a few weeks ago we took this, I think it's the 3rd social and emotional learning survey, so we should be getting the results back for that. And that's always interesting to see just the different, how all the students feel about the same questions, like how you fit in at school, is there someone you can talk to, and those are really important to help make students feel comfortable in the school, and I've been really focusing on that. And I'd just like to thank Dr. Van Haas and Dr. Minton for the opportunity to meet with the architect. That meeting for the bathrooms, it's such a unique opportunity that not many people can say they got to do, so thank you guys for that.
You're welcome. So just to fill you in, we met someone from Mr. Weems' office came over and met with us a few weeks ago. Maggie and one other student from the high school, they had a desire for us to focus on the restrooms closest to the gym down C Hall. And so really appreciate Mr. Weems having someone come over and just talk through what that whole process is. You know, it's not just going in and throwing up a new fixture on the wall. There's a lot involved in that. So we appreciate them, and again, appreciate their interest in even, you know, wanting, being concerned about that. So we're looking at some ways that we can kind of dress that up. Because really, those restrooms are probably the ones that are used the most by the community when they do come into the school. So we're gonna look to work on those and improve the appearance and the function of those. So.
Okay. Well, it's time to move on to the regular agenda. First item is to approve the 2023-2024 Elizabethton City School calendar. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
I got a motion and a second.
Second.
Second. Okay. Anything you need to add, Mr.?
No, I don't
Okay.
think so. Dr. Newman, if there's anything that we need to mention, but just in general, again, it's the same procedure we followed for many years. Calendar committee met to put this calendar together. We feel like it's interesting. You go through that process, and when you go through it multiple times, you think, okay, this is the perfect calendar. I mean, this will just be it from now and then. And every year, there's a little nuance that someone brings to it, and it changes just a little bit. So it's a great process, and we appreciate all those calendar committee members from each school helping us put this together. You know, next year is a little unique. You can see the first day of school, the first half day is on a Friday as opposed to a Thursday. It's just the way the calendar works out. Christmas break is, starts in the middle of a week, which we typically don't like to do, but it's just the way that the days fell on the calendar on the days of the week this year. But still, you can notice there that the last day of school for students is May 21st. So that's early compared to where we normally are. So, any questions on that?
I just think it's nice to have a calendar a year out.
Yes.
You
Yes.
have, just from a planning standpoint, you have that.
So we tried that.
So-
Last year was the first year that we did that. So, and that's another thing when you're in the calendar committee, you're thinking about, no, this is not next year, it's the year beyond. So that's been a learning curve on that too. But yes, I think that is a real help for people to be able to plan, especially those breaks.
Okay. So items to approve the 2023-2024 Elizabethton City School calendar. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And any opposed? And there are none. Next item is to approve the ESSER 3.0 Public Plan Federal Relief Spending Addendum and Safe Return to In-Person Instruction and Continuity of Services Plan Addendum. Can I get a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion and a second.
Second.
Second, okay.
Thank you. So this is part of the federal ESSER dollars. Part of the federal requirement is we have to update these plans every 6 months. And that's what I mentioned before. Thanks to Marcia Taylor for spending time helping us update these, as well as Emily Brooks, several people here at the central office helping us get these up to date. But you had a copy of these, a hard copy, in your information packet last month, and then there was another electronic copy there. So just wanted to give you an opportunity to look at those, see if you have any questions about those that maybe we could answer. There wasn't a whole lot that changed. Obviously, in the Safe Return to School, there were a few things that tweaked from when we originally put that together. The things revolving around masking and things like that. And then in the public-facing plan, the only thing that changed there are some of the dollars. As when we moved into a new fiscal year, some of those dollars changed because just we had some money left over here, we had to move it to this spot, or just things like that. So that's really the only changes that are in here. But does anybody have any questions on either of those?
Okay. All right. Then item is to approve ESSER 3.0 Public Plan Federal Relief Spending Addendum and Safe Return to In-Person Instruction and Continuity of Services Plan Addendum. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And any opposed? There are none. Okay. Next item is to approve the award of bid number ECSS 2021-2022-02 for pool deck resurfacing and locker room restoration for Elizabethton High School to be awarded to High Tech Industries Incorporated in the amount of $29,572. Can I get a motion to approve?
So move.
So move, and a second.
Second.
Second, okay.
Okay, so this is, if any of you all have been in the pool recently, the pool deck's been in pretty bad shape for a while. We've had mats down in places, and there's lots of issues just having mats down. It, can create a situation where you have different things, quite frankly, growing, underneath. So in order to eliminate that, we'll remove all the mats, clean the surface really well, and then put a non-slip surface on that. And when you look at that, you think, golly, that's pretty hot. Well, it's a specialized process and material to put down, again, because it's an area that stays very damp. It stays humid in there, just the nature of the pool and the heater and things like that. So this has been something that's been needed for quite some time. It will really help improve the functionality of that space, but also the aesthetics of it. And this will be in the pool, around the pool itself, and into the locker rooms, which had some issues along those same lines as well. So as you can see there, if you look, we're going to pay for this two different ways if approved. The first is the community involvement program, and Coach Holt mentioned earlier about the Typhoon Swim Club and all those things. That $9,500 basically came from money that they've generated through that program. So I think that's the great part about this. This is not just something that we're having to dip into fund balance to do. It's a partnership with those programs. And I think there are some other things they would like to do in the pool area that they'll continue to be able to generate some of those funds to do that. So, you know, for us to stretch every dollar, this is another way for us to stretch another dollar. So in essence, we're investing 2, but we're getting the value of almost 3.
Mr. Van Huss?
Yes.
I remember as athletic director, I would go in that pool area and I would start sweating BBs because it was so slick. And this is just something that really needed to be done. I'm very happy that it's getting done now. Because it really, I worried about that a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad we're taking care of that. You're able to take care of that.
And on top of that, it's used more now, again, than it's ever, as you heard. I mean, it's used all the time. And we didn't even mention water aerobics, who continues to use the program, and the community, again, continues to support that. So it's a great opportunity to dress that up. And I'm just really excited about all the use that pool's getting and what, you know, again, those kids were great tonight. I mean, it's just going to continue to grow. I mean, there's youth league that's started, and again, the junior high program, and it's a great thing.
It's a nice pool.
It really
is, and it deserves that kind
Yes.
of,
Yes.
as well as some other things I'm sure that people will figure out. But that obviously is a priority, and we appreciate the club for their joint effort
Yes.
in that. So we really do appreciate that. So before, I guess we ought to approve it first. The item is to approve the award of bid number ECSS 2021-2022-02 for pool deck resurfacing and locker room restoration for Elizabethton High School to be awarded to High Tech Industries Incorporated in the amount of $29,572. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And any opposed? And there are none. Next item is to approve the 2022-2023 budget request letter from Elizabethton City Schools to the City of Elizabethton. Can I get a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion and a second. Second. Okay.
Okay, so there is a copy of the proposed letter that we would like your approval to send to the city in regards to, as Mr. Simmerly mentioned, the budget process that the city is currently entering that process, just like we are here for the school system budget. But in the letter, you'll notice the only thing that we're requesting is there's some question about whether or not the SRO grant will continue. We currently receive $105,000 of grant money to help cover the SROs at the 3 elementary schools and maybe a little bit of the T.A. Duggar SRO. The other funding, we have a separate safety grant that covers the cost of the T.A. Duggar SRO, and then the school system funds the SRO at the high school. So that's been the arrangement for many, many years. So again, this grant is what really put us in a position that we could have an SRO at every school. And I just want to tell you, you know, there's some opinions that SROs at the elementary schools are a waste. Well, I can tell you that's absolutely the furthest thing from the truth. And I'll tell you why. It's always a deterrent. And so that's a great thing, and that's worth every penny in and of itself. But the other thing you see is the positive interaction of students with those SRO, with police officers, that they may never get in any other situation. So I think you can't put a value on that. To learn respect for an officer, appreciation for what he does, and starting that at a young age. And it's, quite frankly, you'll talk to the SROs and they'll say it's an eye-opener for them as well at what goes on. It's public school week, and they get a chance in there every day to see what it's like. So it's been a real eye-opener for them. And I think it's a very rewarding position for them as well when they have opportunities to help students. So it is a fantastic program, and that would be our request. If for some reason that grant is not extended, we would ask the city to help us continue to fund these positions. I mean, are there other things that we could ask the city for? Well, absolutely. You know, we're a school system, so, you know, we're going to have a capital workshop here in a few weeks, and there's all kinds of things on there that we would love to have. But right now, we think this needs to be the focus. We're very appreciative of the way the city supports us, not just financially, But again, just, Mr. Simmerly hardly ever misses a meeting, not because he has to be here, because he wants to be here. So the council is very, very supportive, and we're very, very appreciative of them. I don't know, some of you may have heard, we're partnering with the city to help next year with the Covered Bridge celebration. They're going to have a concert in Citizens Bank Stadium. It's going to be phenomenal. When you hear the names of the people that are going to show up for those concerts, you're going to say the same thing I did. There's no way those people are coming to Elizabethton. Well, I can tell you they are going to come to Elizabethton. And so it's going to be a great event. And so that's a chance again for us to partner with the city to make that happen, because it's going to be great for the community. Okay, so again, if you have any questions about that, any thoughts, anything that you would like for us to modify on that, that's certainly up to you.
Any questions or thoughts? Okay. Then the item is to approve the 2022-2023 budget request letter from Elizabethton City Schools to the City of Elizabethton. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And any opposed? And there are none. Next item is to approve the first and final reading of Board Policy 2.806, bids and quotations as revised. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay, and a second. Second? All right.
So this particular item would change the board policy and raise the bid limit from $10,000 to $25,000. Recent action by the General Assembly, this was last legislative session, allows school systems to do that. We've been in contact with the city manager, Mr. Estes, as well as Roger Day, the city attorney, and Ms. Owen, our attorney. We've all communicated about this process, and we're very, very excited about this. In case you didn't know, there's something going on that's called inflation, and it costs more and more to just live and run a school system, run your household, all of those things. So typically when something happens in the school system, it doesn't take very long to get to $10,000 anymore. So, and the bid process, it's there for a reason, and it's a very good checks and balances system. But it's also, there are certain times, there are things that you need to try to get completed, and the bid process does slow down whatever you're doing, sometimes for months, depending on the process, to put a bid packet together, get those in, evaluate them, and things like that. So this would up that limit to $25,000. So this would be great for us from an operational standpoint. That will still require quotes. Okay, so it's not just free reign to just go and purchase anything that's under $25,000. We'll still be required to provide 3 quotes for any items that we purchase up to that amount. And then once it reaches anything above $25,000, we'll continue to go through the bid process. So
does that mean anything under $25,000, even though you quoted, it won't come before the board?
that's correct.
So
That's
board
right.
won't be approving anything
That's
under
right.
25.
It will be 25 and above from now on. That's correct.
And the state law allows it, because the state law was 10,000.
That's
so
right.
it has changed.
That's correct. That changed last legislative session. Yeah. And I know that the city is looking to do that same thing, to raise their limit as well.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, the item is to approve on first and final reading Board Policy 2.806, bids and quotations as revised. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And any opposed? And there are none. Final item is a discussion item to discussion of potential dates for capital projects and budget workshop that we need to have with everything that's going on.
So, so would appreciate if you all would consider maybe picking a date that we can have that workshop. I know that sometimes it's hard to do prior to a board meeting, and the thought was we're going to need to have a budget workshop. We're also going to need to have a capital workshop so we can discuss the plan that I shared with you and get your feedback and thoughts on that. So rather than having two, that'd make it very difficult to maybe do that before a board meeting. So maybe we just pick maybe a separate date, separate from the board meeting date, and we can just meet to just talk about those two items. So
I know I pulled these, Phil, you weren't here yet. What about March 2nd, which is a Wednesday, at 5? I don't know, we'll be done, time to go to church. Are you okay with that? Can you You all are good with
Is
that?
that for budget workshop or just?
Budget and capital. So
Yeah,
we would
we do both.
combine both in there.
That's next week.
We need to have it for the next board meeting, right, Richard? Because we gotta have.
Well,
on the budget.
there's not, we probably have time, that is, so if we do the 2nd, yes, that would be a week from Wednesday. If you do the 9th, that's 2 weeks, that's 1 week prior to the next board meeting, which is the 17th. So,
Either one of those are good.
yeah, either one will be fine. I mean, whatever you all decide, whatever works in your calendar, it's great with us.
I don't like doing things on Wednesday, but spring sports will be geared up then, and
Yeah.
it'll be,
Well, I think if we start at 5, I think we can get out before church services, yes.
Is there a preference on one of those 2 days, or is the second, does the second work?
Either one's fine.
Okay.
Second one.
Okay. All right, then we'll set that for then Wednesday, March the 2nd at 5 o'clock. If there's an issue that comes up, we do have to still advertise that, correct?
Yes, so we'll get that out.
But just let Mr. Van Huss or me know a little bit ahead of time, then if we need to adjust, we can. So
Yeah.
that would be at 5 o'clock.
If you can do that prior to this Wednesday, that would be the week before.
Yeah.
So.
So we'd have
so-
a couple of
yeah.
days to still
Yeah.
change it, okay? All right. The next regularly scheduled board meeting will be held on the 17th day of March at 5:30 here in the Mac Pierce Boardroom. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All at once, okay. Have a great evening. Thank y'all for being here.